Okay, so let's take a look at how you can create a media service in Azure. So first thing, log into Azure portal, and next thing is clicking on create a resource, right? Alternatively, you can also click on all services and then click on the option for media services from the left hand side. Okay, there are a variety of options that you see, right? So we will just click on filter services and then type in media. Right here you will find media services, right? So click on that. It should open up this particular page where you can see there are no existing media services. So what you can do in this context is you will simply click on create, right? So simply click create and this should open a page, right? So let's go to that particular page where you can see create media service account, right? It will try and refresh some of the details like subscription, choose the one that applies, then choose the resource group. Right now, once you choose the resource group, it will automatically change the location for your media service. Right here you can name this as my media. If it's available, it will be getting the green check here. Now there is no storage account, so I will have to click on create new storage account. Here I can name this my storage. If it's available, it will be given. If not, I can name this my dev storage. So this is required because your media files will be stored somewhere, so it's not something that happens in a vacuum. So let's change few things. Can name this a bit different, right? All the names seems to have been taken. I can just spin up something else. Now as you can see, some random name I picked up and it is accepted. Now here I can choose the kind of storage account this is, which is general purpose, so I will select that. There is also replication option, which is locally redundant storage, so I can pick that up. Click OK and I will go back to our process of creating media service account. You can enable the classic APIs if you want, or just leave that portion as is. Right now, next thing is advanced setting, user assign manage identity. If there is none, then you will have to create a new user assigned manage identity. So let's see, I will name this something. So I will name based on my company. Then I will select next, which is tags. If you want to give some tags to this particular media service, you can select from this. Select I have rights to use the current file, then you can agree to those terms, right? Then in the next I can review and create. It will go through the validation process. So like most of the Azure services, you can find this one going through the validation too, and it will show you all the available option like your resource group, location, storage account, my media, and user assigned identity. So when you are deleting all these components after the use, you will have to remember that you created a storage account, you also created one identity and your media service account. So all of these you will have to delete in a sequence for things to work, right? So from this point you can simply click on create. So it will take a bit of time, then it will start the deployment, and from that point onwards we just have to wait for this to allow us to go to the resource for our media service. Then what we will do is, in the meantime, we will go to one of the website, so pixels, and here I will search for one of the files that we have. You can simply pick available video files. These are Creative Commons and free media files that you can use with permission, right? So just pick one that applies in your case, and for example something like this you can download. Simply go back here and wait for deployment to finish. Once the deployment is finished, we can go ahead and access our media service account, where I can show you a variety of options apart from just storing or hosting our media file. Okay, so we already have one media file, so next option would be to just go there and use it. Okay, now the resource we can access after deployment, that looks something like this. Here you see my media is the name I have selected for it. As you can see, variety of operations we can do with this: encoding, live streaming, packaging and origin, API, and video indexing, right? So what we'll do is we will access media services from the sidebar. Here you can see the asset is the place where I want to upload the media. So click on upload. We got the storage account. Let's upload the file. Choose the file that we just downloaded from the site. You can see asset name. I agree and upload for file being original. So let the blob to be uploaded. Then I will show you the properties that we get. Here you can see we get the URL as well. I can click on that particular URL and it will show you that it does not appear to have information, and it will be most likely throwing an error, right? So which is obvious. So we will just move on, and first thing we will do is close, because whenever you are using these storage account blobs, you will have to set the permission before they can be accessed. As you can see, currently published part says this particular show and it's cross marked. Now here we can see that storage link we can access. Click on particular file to go to that asset. Right here you can see variety of things that we can do with this particular file, where we can encode with some settings, create a job, right, and so on. For example, I can add the job, I can add the streaming locator, add the filter where it has option for asset and account filter, right, and finally I can delete as well, right. It also has this track option. So all the specific media related options are visible. There is also download option, just in case some other user is trying to download it, can use this button, or alternatively the storage container URL. Then it will go to storage account, from there they can access. That is another part, but for this being a media asset, it will be accessible from here, right. Now you can also add job within media asset. We can take a look at that. Here you can see you can input the source, you can add some external URL for that job, then transform it, name it, description you can put, do the encoding, because most of the jobs are related to encoding of these files. So you can do that in cloud using your Azure media service account and set the variety of output that you want, right. And you can also store this into your storage account for the type of output you want by finally clicking on create, right. So this is kind of like workflow that you will follow once you start dealing with media assets within this media service, right. So we will also take a look at how you can access this. You can use search pin option and it will be pinned to dashboard in a private or shared options, or simply use within dashboard, so it will be pinned, right. So apart from that, there are a few more features that we can take a look at. For example, we can take a look at storage account where this is connected. So we will have one of the storage accounts, as you can see here, that we can use. It makes use of manage identity, can also make use of system authentication, right? There is also identity in case of this user generated or system generated, right? Then there is networking option, right, where you can see public access and private access. So you have currently public access option, and there is also option for private endpoint, right? You can pick that on. And finally, you can allow all IP address or specified IP address for accessing those files, right? Then here you have within media services option for API. So currently this part is dealing with the authentication part and for your app development, right? So we will skip part this. Then comes asset, which we already looked at, right? Then there is live streaming option. So for those who want to use media services for doing some live streaming and want to use the features for broadcast, you can use the same. There will be also endpoints for this streaming. So those of you are using OBS etc. will make out those endpoints. All the bandwidth and the services used will be charged accordingly, right? You also have this host name here for you to deal with. So coming back to the assets, what we can do is we can select the file, click on delete, say yes, right? Once you delete this, next thing we will do is we will go back to our overview part, right? And here I will have to delete this particular media service. So I will just name this my media and note that this process is irreversible. Once this is deleted, I will have to go and check the storage accounts. So I can type in storage accounts where it has created one storage account that will be in need for deletion, right? So I will just access that, and here I will just go to overview, and it has its own delete button as well. So I will just click on delete. Right, so we will just use the name, paste it here and click delete. So once confirmed deleted, we can see the particular account deleted from cloud storage, right? So pretty much we are done with the process of creating media service account. We also deleted the storage account, right? So we are now done with the whole process of media service in Azure.